Chapter 2. The Christmas Feast. I was certain that a constable would be waiting in the kitchen to arrest me, but to my surprise there was no policeman inside, and the theft hadn't yet been discovered. Mrs. Joe was too caught up in preparing the house for Christmas to notice anything out of place. She was planning an impressive holiday meal: pickled pork with greens, 2 stuffed roast chickens, and the mince pie she had baked the day before. The pudding was already bubbling on the stove. Mrs. Joe had also hung new curtains and added fresh trimmings all around. Though she was obsessively clean, her way of keeping house made things more uncomfortable than cheerful. We were expecting guests: Mr. Wopsle, the church clerk, Mr. and Mrs. Hubble, and Uncle Pumblechook, Joe's prosperous uncle, who was a corn merchant and drove his own chaise cart. Dinner was set for 1:30. When Joe and I returned from a walk, everything was already prepared. The table was laid, Mrs. Joe was dressed for company, and the front door was unlocked. Still, there was no mention of the missing food, but I felt no peace. The anxiety only worsened when the guests arrived. The company came soon enough, and I opened the door for them. "Mrs. Joe," said Uncle Pumblechook, as a token of the season's goodwill, "I have brought you, ma'am, a bottle of port wine." He said these exact words every Christmas, carrying the bottles like dumbbells. And every year Mrs. Joe responded the same way. "Oh, Uncle Pumblechook, how thoughtful of you." On this particular Christmas she was unusually cheerful. "Have a sip of brandy, Uncle," she offered. My heart sank. Oh heavens, it had come. He would find the brandy weak, and the whole truth would come out. I gripped the table leg with both hands, bracing myself for what would happen. My sister returned with the stone bottle and poured out a glass for Uncle Pumblechook. No one else joined him. I couldn't keep my eyes off him. I watched him closely as he played with the glass, smiled, and then drank it down in one gulp. Immediately he leaped to his feet, spun around, and began coughing violently before stumbling out the door. Through the window I saw him making dreadful faces, as if he had gone mad. I clung tighter to the table as Joe and Mrs. Joe rushed to help him. He collapsed into that chair, gasping for breath. "Tar," he wheezed. I had replaced the brandy with tar water from the jug. I knew he would be worse by and by. "Tar?" my sister shouted, confused. "How could tar possibly get into that bottle?" But Uncle Pumblechook waved it away and asked for hot gin and water instead. For the moment I was safe. My sister focused on entertaining the guests again, and Uncle Pumblechook gradually recovered enough to enjoy the pudding with the rest of the company. Then, with pride, my sister addressed the guests. "You must try the pie, a savory pork pie." I instantly gripped the table leg again and pressed it to my chest. Panic returned in full force. She went into the pantry to fetch the pie. I could see Mr. Pumblechook preparing his knife with interest. I heard Joe say, "You'll have a slice, won't you, Pip?" I couldn't take it anymore. I released the leg off the table and bolted for the door. But I didn't make it far. At the house door I ran headlong into a party of soldiers with their muskets. One of them stepped forward, holding out a pair of handcuffs. "I am looking for the blacksmith," he said. "Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I want the blacksmith. Got a quick job for these. Needs doing now." Joe offered to help, but said he'd need to light the forge. The repair would take about 2 hours. Some soldiers stayed in the kitchen while others went with Joe to get started. I felt a wave of relief when I realized the handcuffs weren't meant for me. The soldiers' presence had also conveniently distracted everyone from the missing pie. When Joe had finished the repairs and put on his coat, he suggested some of us accompany the soldiers to see how the chase ended. Mr. Hubble and Uncle Pumblechook declined. Mr. Wopsle agreed to go if Joe went too. Joe said he would and added, "I'll take Pip with me, if his sister allows." "I hope we don't find them, Joe," I whispered. "So do I," he replied. The soldiers headed off toward the old battery, and we followed a short distance behind. Suddenly we heard loud shouts. As we got closer, it was clear that more than one voice was shouting. One yelled murder, while another cried, "Run away, convicts! Guards, this way!" "There they are," the sergeant called out, breathless. "Give up, both of you! Curse you, you wild animals! Let's go of each other!" "Mark my words," said my convict, wiping blood from his face. "I caught him. I'm handing him over to you. Remember that." "It makes no difference," the sergeant replied. "You'll both be treated the same. Handcuffs." "He tried to kill me," the other convict accused. "Kill you?" sneered my convict. "If I meant to, I would have. I brought him back, didn't I? Nobody stopped me from escaping. I dragged him back here myself." As the torches were being lit, my convict glanced around. His eyes found me, and I gave him a pleading look while shaking my head slightly. My convict never looked at me, except that once, but stared quietly into the fire. "I've got something to say about this escape. Might clear up any suspicions," he declared. "Speak your piece," said the sergeant. "A man can't starve, at least I can't. I took some victuals from the blacksmith's, and a dram of liquor and a pie." "Have you missed a pie, blacksmith?" the sergeant asked Joe. "My wife did just before you arrived." "Well," said my convict, "I'm sorry, but I ate it." "You're welcome to it," Joe said kindly. "We don't know what you have done, but we wouldn't want you starving, would we, Pip?" A boat came for the convicts, and we watched as they were taken aboard and disappeared into the mist. By the time we got home, I was half asleep. My sister hauled me up to bed with her usual iron grip.